Appreciate everyone hopping in. If you saw my posts, most likely where you signed up for this, I had the opportunity to give this talk at Indy Tech in January. Was blown away by the turnout and by the feedback on it. So figured instead of just recording it and posting it that way, might as well get some more experience with webinars. So I appreciate y'all hopping on. But we'll go ahead and jump in. My name is David Watson. My background is a former insurance agent. Started scratch in 2016. Before that, I was working for State Farm, Allstate, Farm Bureau, jumping around a couple different places there before taking the leap in 2016. Sold that, merged that into Mappus Insurance in 2020 or 2018, and then we were acquired in 2021. Background on that, I've also spent some time currently on the Young Agents Board in South Carolina, Big I of South Carolina, the associations, whether it's Big I, PIA, big, near and dear to my heart. I think those are doing great things for the industry, and I'm blessed that South Carolina has one of the best ones around that I've seen, and how much they pour into it. Then also have some experience working with carriers on an advisory council that has given me a lot of fun and exciting experience along the way as well. Born and raised in South Carolina, currently live in Lexington, South Carolina with my family. This is my wife. These pictures are a little old, but it's one of my favorite pictures, especially whenever I'm doing one of these talks, because my corny joke of this is going to be her sign is absolutely true, and then I'll let you kind of judge by the time that we get to the end of this. Hopefully, you think that's true, that I'm not as dumb as I look, but there might be a possibility that is still true. This is a picture of my family. Definitely a girl dad. I've got 3 daughters. I use this older picture mainly because I like to point out here that my youngest, her name is Andy. As much as you could expect from that picture, she is trouble, but we have a great family that I love. And here's a little bit updated picture. But again, with Andy, she's definitely one of those that she's got her opinion. She's going to make it known. I mentioned earlier that my background, former agency owner, and one of the things I love about this industry is 3 of my best friends that are pictured in some of these photos I met through this industry. One's an agency owner in North Carolina, another one's in Tennessee. We started getting together through golf, and what it turned into was how beautiful this industry is, of people sharing what's working well for them, what's not working, but just a place where no matter what state you're in, you can have some of your best friends spread across the country in this industry, and it's one of those things that is a true blessing for me. Real quick, I'll highlight what I'm doing now, which is RiskAdvisor. RiskAdvisor was built inside of Mappus Insurance. I built it for myself as a producer, but also my sales team. What is RiskAdvisor? We help with agent-facing risk profiles, helping with that conversation, making sure that your team is asking the right questions and getting the right data, and then sending it over to their other platforms, which is especially important, especially what we're going to talk about today with prompting, but also AI in general. How data comes into your insurance agency has always been important, but it's just going to get more and more important as you decide to start using more AI tools in your agency. What we also help with is client-facing quote forms. Our first AI project is underwriting AI that allows you to upload your carrier guidelines, and as part of your intake, you're going to disqualify carriers with green, yellow, red lights. So that way your team is not wasting time quoting carriers that are ineligible, accidentally placing risk with carriers that a claim could be denied or hurt your loss ratio, things like that. So it's built inside of an agency and stress test with agencies across the country. As we jump into the prompt parallel really came from a conversation that I had with one of my developers with RiskAdvisor. One of the things he told me along the way was, David, when I'm on a call with you, whether it's our Zoom meetings or a one-on-one or something like that, I don't question what your expectation is. I don't question what you're asking me to do with our product. But one of the things he shared was sometimes when you're sharing what you want or what you need via Slack or a ticket, um, I can sometimes struggle on understanding exactly what you're expecting or you're needing. Therefore, we're spending time going back and forth. And what he followed that up with was a thought around, I believe that's what you're doing when you prompt AI. Obviously, as much of you as y'all are, maybe more, I have been playing around with the different AI tools, how it can better my day to day, also help us move a little bit faster with RiskAdvisor. And he mentioned that with what you're doing on some of the things that you're doing with AI with RiskAdvisor is the AI doesn't have the context of what you're actually expecting or what you're needing. You're just jumping straight into it. So that's where the background of this prompt parallel conversation comes from. So what do we mean by prompting? Prompting a cue or instruction that moves someone or something to action, guiding what happens next. And when we look at it at that scale, even before AI was back when AI was just something that we heard about in the movies that was going to end all of us and all those scary things, we've all been prompting. We've all been doing prompting our entire lives. I prompt my kids to get ready for school in the morning or to make sure that they have their shoes on. We're all doing this both in our personal lives, our professional lives, all parts of our lives. And it's something that when you back up and start taking a look at the full context can kind of change how we look at it. So we'll hold on for that to a moment. But now let's talk about intake. Obviously, there's going to be a piece of this that my mind has come to around intake, with that being what has become my life mission, if you will, to help insurance agencies solve. So intake, it's not just intake, it's the first prompt. It's the very first instruction you give to your team, to your systems, and now to AI. The first prompt is going to set the tone for everything that follows. If an intake is clear and structured and intentional, downstream your work and your processes and what you're giving to your prospect, giving to your team is going to get easier. If it's rushed or vague, it's ultimately going to create more work downstream. Intake is going to prompt your entire agency, whether it's in new business, your service renewals and remarketing, the relationship between sales and service teams, your clients' trust. With how you intake new business into your agency, it's going to better set up that key one, this relationship between sales and service teams. I'll take you back to when I first launched RiskAdvisor. Second customer was one of my best friends in the industry, Jeremy Powers. Some of you all might know that name. He signed up. He said, "Hey, I'm going to support you. I love what you're building. I want this for my agency." Jeremy was actually the one that got me into insurance in the first place back in 2012 when told me that, "Hey, I all you need to do is get your license." And so it was exciting. It was almost a full circle picture for him to jump onto what we were building. A couple months in, he came to me and he said, "Hey, unfortunately, I have to cancel. My agency's not large enough at this point to be able to continue paying for this, and my sales team not being bought in." And as much as that sucked, I understood. We were very early product. He came back about 18 months later. And what happened there changed a lot of what I thought about RiskAdvisor, but also where we're going to continue to shape the future of RiskAdvisor. And that the reason he came back was not because, hey, I'm ready or I'm getting this for my sales team. Now my sales team is going to be the ones that are using this, but my service team, my renewal team is threatening to quit. What we're doing for intake right now is the bare basics. We're basically just getting deck pages, quoting off of that, and moving quickly through that. It helps on sales. It makes it efficient. It makes it quick. We're closing business. Things are going well. But the problem is when it comes time for the service and renewal team to remarket these accounts when it needs to be reevaluated, we're starting at not square one, but maybe square two, where we're having to basically go back through the process with these prospects, or now our customers, excuse me, and asking them key pieces of information that we should have already had on file because we were not doing intake properly when we were creating it simple and easy on the front end. Now, front end does not have to be the opposite of simple and easy, but there needs to be a rhythm, there needs to be intentionality that's going to help set you up for success, set up your what for the majority of us, and if it's not already, will be in the future, the largest and most valuable part of our agency is going to be that our renewals. It's what makes insurance agencies so valuable. So having new business prompt service and renewals by having the appropriate context on the front end is extremely valuable. I'll share another real story around this as well. And this story is another one of mine back when inside of Blue Lake Insurance. I had some friends of mine that they were buying a new house, and I knew that they had a dog that was on most of the dangerous dog breed lists. And this new house had a pool, an unfenced pool. Well, I knew out of back at the time, one of of my limited carriers, I knew exactly which carrier was going to be the only fit. So I moved them to this carrier. No big issues. They were with them for maybe 3, maybe 4 years. And at this time, I'd gone from a solo entrepreneur of Blue Lake merging into Mappus. I had a account manager who was helping me with renewals. She gets the renewal for this one and sees that I think it's around a 30 to 35% increase, and makes the decision, hey, we're going to reshop this one. This one should be pretty easy. So she took what she had, the context that she had, and started reshopping it, found another option, and was able to move them over and not only save them the 35% of the renewal increase, but she was able to save them some additional money. It was great. Everybody was happy. The only person who wasn't happy was the inspector, and therefore underwriting when they see, hey, we've got a dangerous dog breed and we've got a pool, an unfenced pool. Well, again, this prior carrier was not concerned with that. When I originally did this, all I was worried about in the early days was, hey, quick, easy, as little documentation as possible because of the back and forth and all that. I knew exactly which carrier it needed to go with. So I went straight to that carrier. I didn't even put it in a rater, agency management system, a CRM, anything like that. So once we had to take another look at this, what we ended up figuring out was the carrier that they were originally with was still the only option that made sense for them. Well, unfortunately, this carrier was not able to make the renewal valid. So we had to treat it as new business. So not only did we go back to a carrier that already had a 35% renewal increase, now it was an additional 10% over that because that was their new business rate. And so the impact that came from this bad prompting, which was again the context that I gave or the lack thereof, was an unclear picture for my account manager. Extra work for both the account manager and our customer. That customer, the mortgage had already paid, so we had to go through the mess that is getting a refund, paying the new ones, and a lot of frustration for myself, towards myself, for my account manager for the extra work, but especially our customer. Now, let's shift focus and start looking at what the perfect prompt looks like. Now, the next parts of this is going to be not just related to intake. I talked about that on the front end. We'll talk a little bit at the back end, but this is going to be something that is across AI that you can use this with AI. So let's build the perfect prompt. Now, with this prompt parallel comes into play is what most of us are putting into ChatGPT, Claude, if you're jumping on the new train, or Gemini or Copilot. Your prompt looks like something like this. All right, show me a picture of my dream house. What you want. It's quick, it's easy. Maybe your prompt looks like, hey, show me a picture of my dream house. It's a lake house with a nice yard. What really needs to happen is what we're going to take a look at is the perfect prompt. So prompting in action, what this looks like, hey, show me a picture of my dream house. It's got the water right. I'm more of a lake guy. I prefer the lake over the ocean. I don't know what's going on with whether I'm a Bond villain or if a Gemini is the one I used here decided, hey, let's make it to with the a semi RiskAdvisor logo. Now I'm kind of noticing that it looks like there's a helicopter helipad over here, but I don't know if that's a manual helicopter. Like it looks like you have to maybe there's some pedals or something like that. But hey, it's a picture, and honestly, like hey, that's a pretty nice house. I would love to insure that. I'm sure there's a nice little surcharge on that for overhanging a cliff. But yeah, that's a dream house, which is not my dream house. All right, so show me a picture of my dream house. It's a lake house with a nice yard. So we've got additional context. We talked about earlier about with prompting, additional context. The more context that you can provide, the better, the more valuable the output's going to be. Well, we've got a lake house. It did pick up on the fact that a lake house in the mountains would be pretty nice. We've got a pool here, which is definitely something that I would love to have. It's more so on the house itself. It didn't give a lot of context over that. Paid more attention to the lake and the pool. We're getting there. We're getting closer. Now, the way I build my prompts after my conversation with my developer is I actually use AI to help me build the perfect prompt. And a lot of what I do with that is by asking AI to ask me questions. So let's take a look. Ask me questions to build the perfect prompt to design my dream home. But make these questions ones that I would only understand if I were an architect or a general contractor. So let's take a look at some of these questions. Now, I'm going to go through what it kicked out. I only made it through less than half of the questions it kicked out, but okay. Site zoning and entitlements. That sign that we were looking at earlier, I'm not as dumb as I look. I feel like I'm pretty dumb when I'm looking at these. Program and spatial strategy. Structural system. Okay, us insurance agents, we're getting a little bit more into what we might understand. We've got the foundation type understood. Structural system, we'll have a little bit of context there. Some of these other ones, maybe not. Building envelope, target R values, envelope strategy, air sealing target. I don't know. I don't know about you. Y'all might have some additional context in the background there. MEP systems, energy sustainability and performance. So y'all kind of get the idea. This is how I look. This is how I looked the first time I actually saw these responses. All right. So the reason I did that is to kind of shift it back to intake. I don't know if you have ever audited what you put in front of a prospect with maybe having your personal lines rater embedded on your website, or if you send a fillable PDF, or if you send the carrier questions in an email to your prospects. You, if you're on this call, most likely you're an insurance agent. You have the context, the understanding, the training, the expertise, the license to know what insurance questions, insurance jargon means. Your average consumer, your average prospect does not and really should not. So ask me questions to build the perfect prompt to design my dream home. Make these questions ones that I would only understand if I were an average consumer. Okay, prompting in action. What kind of home do you imagine overall? It gives us examples or asking questions. Farmhouse, which is funny. I know I want to be on the lake, but farmhouse. Where's the house located or what setting is it in? On Lake Keowee in South Carolina. How big should the house feel? Around 4,500 square feet. How many floors does it have? 2 with walkout basement. What stands out the most on the outside of the home? Large screen and porch overlooking the pool and lake. What colors and materials do you like for the exterior? Wood with stone. What type of day or mood should the image have? I love a sunset. Are there any must-have features? Pool, outdoor kitchen, large porch. Is there anything you don't want to see in the image? The price tag. All right. So here's the output. Now I took those questions, my responses, put this into Google Gemini, and this is what I got. So the big screen porch is immediately what my draw attention to. The walkout basement right into the pool. Wish there's a little bit more grass between the pool and the lake, but maybe I wasn't able to afford the right lot. So it was taking that into consideration. I did tell it, hey, don't show me the price tag. I still couldn't afford this one. So it's still way, way out there in the future. But the overall idea is the more context you can give, the better the results, as we discussed. Now, the easiest way to do that is if you don't know the context that you should ask your AI, your favorite AI, hey, ask me questions. Here's my general idea. Ask me questions to get to a better response. I also like saying, hey, ask me questions one by one. So that way it uses those responses to maybe ask follow-up questions. Kind of relates back to, again, if you do a general short minimal intake and you don't have it in a way where you're going to ask follow-up questions, that's where a lot of context goes to die, is not being able to ask those follow-up questions. So how does this relate to your intake? Your prospect is not an insurance expert. You know that. That's why we're valuable. I know there's one company that just released requesting an insurance quote via AI. I don't know if you saw that. It's funny how big bad wolf AI, when it comes to, it's going to take all of our jobs, which I think if we don't adapt AI, those of us who are using AI will take the jobs of those who don't. But when that first came out, I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. Let me take a look. All it is if you do a Google search, it's the same thing. Like, oh, this one's got an estimated rate of $28 per month. That side subject. AI does not know your prospect or their vision on a personal basis. It can if they know to ask, hey, get to know me a little bit deeper, but they don't, when they're looking for a cheaper insurance quote, they're not going to know that, hey, to provide that additional context. Intake is how you bring together what you know, what your prospect wants, and both of your personalities. It's also how you build rapport. I love this quote. I love this here. The future of business isn't AI versus the human touch. It's AI in service of the human touch. Kind of gave away that, hey, this is one of my favorite quotes. The great theologian ChatGPT said this. Now, one of the things that I promised for you hanging out with me today is a custom GPT that I built that you can grab with this QR code. Don't worry if you're not able to grab it or if the link doesn't work. I will be sending out a follow-up email today or tomorrow with a link to this recording, as well as the deck, as well as these resources. So what this should allow you to do is put in a general, hey, help me build my dream house. And the prompt is automatically going to go through those follow-up questions for you. If you're still hanging out with us, if you're not a RiskAdvisor customer, but you want to learn more about RiskAdvisor and how we're helping prompt intake, would love to host you on a demo. Would love to get to know you and your agency a little bit more. We have some upcoming webinars that you can grab here. Again, all of this is going to be sent out to you. We've got some really cool webinars coming up. We're going to be doing we've got a webinar this Thursday on how our new custom risk profiles have been released and how to set those up. We've got a webinar upcoming with Chris Langeal on how to handle SEO and the things like that in the AI world. We're doing one with Davey Holt and Landry Fields. They have a new community called the AI Rockstars. And then we also have another one with Nick Berry with Total CSR on how to hire and train in this new world. And if you wanted to hop on a call and have some questions or think I might be able to help with something or give you additional context, here's my calendar. Feel free to grab some time to jump on a call as well. But really appreciate all of you hopping on. I forgot to put my email address on this, but like I said, you're going to be getting an email from me here shortly. But if there's anything I can do, any questions I can answer, or any additional context that I can provide, please let me know. I love our industry. Obviously, I'm building RiskAdvisor, which relies on customers that are insurance agents. But at the end of the day, my ultimate goal is to make this industry better and invest in those who have invested or invest in others because of how much I was invested in early on in my career. So if there's absolutely anything that I can help you with, please let me know. But yeah, really appreciate y'all hopping on. I think I have this set up for Q&A. it looks like y'all can send messages. So if there's any questions that you have, looks like you can hop into the messages. I'll hang out here for about 5 minutes or so, but and answer anything that pops up. But yeah, if no questions or anything like that, I'll let you get back to your day. But again, thank you so much for hanging out today. All right. Oh, gotta love a camera freezing like that. All right, looks like everybody, or mostly everybody's hopped out. Got a few that probably are on another call or something like that. But like I said, if any questions, anything you need, just let me know. Really appreciate y'all hanging out and hope y'all have a great rest of your day.